We live in the most connected era in human history. One screen, one swipe, one message, and a stranger enters your life. And yet, this is the loneliest generation that has ever existed. We don't wait for love anymore. We scroll for it. We compare faces, replace people, and call it choice. But unlimited options don't create happiness. They create emotional numbness. Tonight, she is just one of millions. One woman, one phone, one quiet room, searching not for love, but for proof that she still matters. In modern dating, hope is engineered. A simple motion of the finger, the illusion of control, the illusion that this time it might finally work. A match is not love, it's dopamine, a chemical reward that tells your brain you are chosen, even when you are still invisible. Messages arrive, laughter follows, and slowly, emotional dependence begins to grow. Not because of connection, but because of repetition. A coffee invitation sounds simple, but in the mind, it becomes a future. People don't fall in love with reality anymore. They fall in love with the story they imagine. She adjusts her dress, looks at herself differently. Not better, just temporarily valuable, because someone is paying attention. The city didn't change. The night didn't change. Only perception changed, and perception is everything in modern love. She believes this is the beginning. She believes attention means intention. In modern dating, those two things are rarely the same, and she is about to learn that lesson the hardest way. We don't fall in love with people anymore. We fall in love with notifications, with the sound of attention arriving, with proof that someone is still thinking about us. In modern dating, power doesn't come from love. It comes from timing, from how fast you reply, from how slow you disappear. The one who controls the rhythm controls the emotion. Deep conversations create the illusion of depth. Confessions create the illusion of trust. But illusion is not foundation. When someone listens to your fears, they don't just hear your story. They learn your weakest places. And from that moment on, vulnerability becomes currency. Writing a name is not romantic. It's neurological. It tells the brain, this person matters now. One person sees destiny. The other sees influence. One feels chosen. The other feels powerful. This is how imbalance is born, without anyone noticing. Blind trust is never sudden. It's built gently, message by message, smile by smile. A gift is never just a gift. It's a psychological anchor. It creates memory. It creates emotional debt. And emotional debt creates obedience. Manipulation rarely looks dark at the beginning. It looks like tenderness. It sounds like destiny. And it feels like safety. She believes she is building something real. What she doesn't see is that emotional control always arrives before emotional abandonment. And the silence is already on its way. At first, disappearing never looks like disappearance. It looks like busyness. It sounds like excuses. And then one day, it becomes silence. Every collapse begins with a moment that still feels perfect. Bodies close, warm hands, soft promises hanging in the air. This is the scene the mind will replay later, when everything hurts. Distance never announces itself. It arrives quietly, through shorter replies, through colder tone. Long emotions, answered with one word. The first reaction is never anger. It is self-blame. Maybe I asked too much. Maybe I said the wrong thing. In modern dating, people apologize for needing consistency. Silence creates a special form of anxiety, the kind that makes your fingers type and erase and type again. You are no longer talking to another person. You are negotiating with your fear of being unwanted. When answers disappear, the mind begins to pace, back and forth, not searching for truth, but for emotional relief. Memory is more powerful than reason. As long as the past still feels warm, the present is allowed to stay cold. This is why people stay, even when they are already being left. One of the cruelest realizations in modern dating is discovering that someone can still laugh, still flirt, still live normally, while you are quietly breaking inside. The body always knows first. Legs weaken, breathing stutters. The nervous system whispers, "This connection is dying, and you cannot stop it." The phone is silent now. No vibration, no explanation, only absence, disguised as patience. This is how ghosting truly begins. Not with disappearance, but with emotional starvation. Attention given in smaller and smaller doses, until the heart learns to beg in silence. And for Emma, this is not the ending. This is the doorway to being erased. Some people leave your life loudly, doors slammed, words thrown like knives. But modern dating has created a quieter exit. They leave you while still standing right in front of you. There is a moment when everything still feels normal. Warm rooms, soft light, familiar silence that feels safe. This is the last breath before detachment. Disconnection always begins internally, long before it becomes visible externally. One person is still holding on. The other is already planning how to let go. This is how emotional imbalance is born. Quietly. When touch loses warmth, the heart feels it immediately, even if the mind refuses to believe it. He doesn't explain. He doesn't argue. He simply leaves. And that is how ghosting truly prepares its first wound. Confusion is always the first stage of abandonment. Not grief, not anger. Just the question, what just happened? Messages sent after someone pulls away are never about conversation. They're about reassurance, about asking the universe, am I still chosen? Read is not silence. It is a decision, a deliberate refusal to respond while still witnessing your need. When anxiety takes over, the body becomes restless, pacing, gripping the phone, waiting for a reality that is already gone. At some point, people stop checking their phone and start staring at nothing. The cruelest part of ghosting is not that they disappear. It is that they watch you fall apart and choose to remain absent. The body always collapses when the hope finally runs out. Silence is not empty. It is heavy, and it grows louder when the music stops. Mourning after ghosting is not relief. It is shock slowly turning into reality. Objects stay longer than people, and sometimes they hurt more. Tears fall when the heart finally admits what the mind tried to deny all night. The face that once felt like home now lives inside a digital square, untouchable, unreachable. Sometimes walking away doesn't look dramatic. It looks like turning a screen face down because you can't survive another unanswered message. The city still shines. People still move. Only one thing has disappeared completely, meaning. Ghosting doesn't just remove a person. It slowly removes the version of you that believed in them. This is the true violence of modern dating. No closure, no explanation, no goodbye. Just one person silently erasing another from their life, while the one left behind is forced to grieve in confusion. It begins when you are left alone to rebuild your sense of worth. The relationship is over, but the damage is just beginning. After being ghosted, the mind doesn't replay the pain first. It replays the warmth. One heart was wide open. The other was already guarded. She saw love. He saw convenience. And both called it connection. In modern dating, one glowing screen can overpower an entire room. A single message is enough to change a soul. Detachment never asks for permission. It simply turns its back and walks toward the exit without explanation. There is always a moment when your entire body screams, "Ask why. Don't let this end." But ghosting has normalized silence as a valid goodbye. The hand always reaches for the phone. Always. Because hope is not logical. It is stubborn. It keeps whispering, "Maybe this isn't real yet." Healing doesn't begin when they stop replying. It begins when you stop asking. We draw meaning on windows that were never built to hold it. And when reality cuts through, it always uses water. The hardest ghost to release is not the person, but the fantasy of who you thought they were. After ghosting, the world does not pause. People still laugh under umbrellas. Love continues in other windows. And the abandoned heart begins to believe a dangerous lie: I was not enough. But being abandoned does not mean being broken. Tonight, she does not beg. Tonight, she does not run. Tonight, she understands the difference between love and emotional cowardice. Ghosting did not just take someone from her, it rebuilt her boundaries. And what healed her will never allow the same wound to look romantic again. Sometimes, silence doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to rebuild you. Because when the messages stop, the truth finally starts speaking. At first, the mind refuses to accept it. It searches for excuses. Bad signal, busy schedule, temporary distance. Hope always lies to protect the heart. Memory becomes dangerous when it only replays the beautiful parts. The laughter, the dancing, and conveniently deletes the warnings. Reality always waits patiently, and when it arrives, it never knocks gently. Some people drink to forget. Others break down to remember. and some finally allow themselves to feel everything they were suppressing. Anger is not strength, it is grief with nowhere to go. And when you hit the floor, you finally understand how high you were falling from. When no one answers your messages, you begin answering yourself. You write what hurt, you write what broke, and for the first time, you write the truth without filters. Understanding doesn't arrive loudly, it arrives quietly, like a sentence you can no longer unread. You were not abandoned because you were unworthy. You were abandoned because they were incapable of staying. Letting go is not deleting a chat. It is deleting the version of yourself that kept begging for people who already chose to leave. Healing is quiet. No drama, no speeches. Just warm hands around a cup of peace you finally decided to pour for yourself. Pain does not always make you softer. Sometimes it makes your eyes sharper, your smile calmer, and your boundaries permanent. While one heart learns, another continues scrolling. Not everyone grows from silence. Some simply move to the next distraction. Confidence is not arrogance. It is the quiet certainty that you will never beg again. The city did not change. The world did not apologize. But the woman at the window is no longer waiting for closure. She creates it. Being ghosted teaches you 3 brutal truths. Love without clarity is a gamble. Silence is a choice. And survival is not an accident. Tonight, she does not collapse. She exits. If this story felt uncomfortably familiar, then you already know modern dating is not about finding love. It is about surviving emotional warfare. Subscribe, because the next story might be the one you haven't healed from yet.